And we are live right after the Giants beat the Carolina Panthers and go 2-0.
Chris. The first time since 2016 the New York Giants start 2-0. That was back when Ben McAdoo was in his first season, and the Giants ended up going to the playoffs that season. But the Giants seized this victory. And look, I'm going to put this on mute, and I want to tweet this out so more people can get to hear it. But look, Chris, that game was ugly. It was sloppy. The Carolina Panthers tried to give this football game to the Giants, and the Giants were almost hesitant to seize that opportunity early on. Two straight fumbles to start the game, but at the end of the day, although the offense had its issues, they found a way to get it done in the most high leverage situations, and the Giants escaped this with a 19-16 victory.
Yeah, I think Ben McAdoo might be a good luck charm for the Giants, at least, you know, in a coach's first year or something. You're right. This game was ugly. It was Mo Sizlek Pug Fugly, at least on the offensive side of the ball. This was a defensive slugfest. The Giants were hitting the Carolina Panthers on defense. The Panthers were hitting the Giants on defense. Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen a 2-0 team where the starting quarterback has less than 400 yards total. That is just a mark of where this Giants offense is right now, but they're still getting it done.
And it's not even just because it was all Saquon Barkley. Now, in week one, it was all Saquon Barkley in that rushing attack. Over 200 yards rushing for the Giants. They barely cracked 100 yards. They had 103 yards rushing. Saquon Barkley, 21 carries, 472 yards. And then you have Daniel Jones with 21 yards on 10 carries. A lot of those were just around the line of scrimmage. But then that big run on the last drive of the New York Giants to get out of third down, get to first down, and then just wind the clock down. That was a really, I would say, heady play by Daniel Jones, who did not play this football game well, Chris. Daniel Jones had a lot of mistakes. He left a lot of plays out there on the field. I can't wait to get to the All-22, and we'll be covering it at my Twitter and on Big Blue View on all the plays that he actually did end up leaving on the football field. But at the end of the day, he made some smart decisions with his legs that put the Giants in a position to earn this victory.
Yeah, the Panthers made the mistake of opening up the middle of the field, turning their back on him. The Giants' offensive line was able to get just enough to give Jones the daylight to go pick up that crucial first down. Yeah, and it was enough because the Panthers did everything they could to hand this game to the Giants on a silver platter to start the game. Yeah, with those two fumbles that turned into 6 points. Graham Gano hitting that. I can't say he drilled that 58-yarder, but he hit the 58-yarder. That is really a 9-point swing right there. Yeah, this is another game that could have gone very differently for the Giants, but they were able to stay resilient. The defense was aggressive at the right time, and they were able to survive for the win.
One of the things we highlighted too, Chris, as a way to attack the Panthers' protections was isolate Ikem Ekwonu, run twists at him, show blitz to the outside and then penetrate the B gap. And that's exactly what the Giants did on that sack by Julian Love, that really important sack at around midfield that put the Panthers out of a relatively easy 4th and short situation and knocked them back to like 4th and intermediate. So they decided to punt the ball, rely on their defense, which had been playing pretty well against the New York Giants offense. But that ultimately was one of the plays that really solidified this victory. I would like to see the percentages according to the analytics of what the win percentage was for the New York Giants before that play and then after that play. So great scheming by Wink Martindale there to take advantage of Ekwonu and take advantage of the protection package. And got to say, man, if we're looking at the defense, Xavier McKinney, he bat down 2 passes. He was all over the line of scrimmage, all over Christian McCaffrey in man coverage. And then O'Shane Ximenez, another player who was making plays whenever he was called upon, whether he be the unblocked defender on Zoden Reeds or if it was just him in coverage even, he was out there. And that's somebody who's filling a void right now for the New York Giants. The Giants are down 3 edge rushers, 3 potential starting edge rushers, 2 definite starting edge rushers in Ojulari and Thibodeau. And now you have O'Shane Ximenez, who has been around the block for a little bit for the New York Giants. But look, what does he do? He comes up big in these situations. He's taken to the coaching of this New York Giants staff, and I'm very happy for him because a lot of people, including myself, did not think he was going to be here wearing blue.
Yeah, no, pretty much everyone had Ximenez left for dead. He was off the roster, according to, well, pretty much everybody. But he was a key cog in this defense. Not just his quickness off the snap, getting around Ike Ekwonu being that free rusher, the contain guy in those zone read plays, but also, as you say, dropping off into coverage. It seemed as though anytime the Giants made a defensive play, it was either Zimenez pressuring into the backfield or muddying up Baker Mayfield's reads by dropping into the short intermediate, the hook curl area, and slowing down Mayfield's process just enough to allow the pressure to get to him or force him to throw the ball away.
Absolutely. I can speak very highly of this defense and what they were able to do. They slowed down Christian McCaffrey. It seemed like early on that's who the New York Giants or who Ben McAdoo wanted to exploit, similar to what the Tennessee Titans did, exploit those linebackers, right? And just run the ball at them, use them in the passing game. It didn't really work all that well for the Carolina Panthers. So credit to the defense. And then at a halftime, that's when we saw both of these teams have those touchdown drives. It seemed like the Carolina Panthers, Ben McAdoo, were like, okay, we're going to find a way to get DJ Moore involved because we didn't do that in week 1. So let's isolate him against the rookie Cordell Flott. And we saw on that drive where Carolina scored a touchdown, they just went after Cordell Flott and ensured that he was on DJ Moore, and then it went for 6. I mean, that's not a matchup the Giants are going to win. And that's no knock on Cordell Flott, but DJ Moore is a top receiver in this league. So, but other than that drive, you just saw a lot of inefficiency from this Carolina offense, and you saw Baker Mayfield get uncomfortable. You saw a lot of hands in the air, batting passes down, and you saw the New York Giants defense rising to the occasion under the tutelage of Wink Martindale, who knows Baker Mayfield really well from their time in the AFC North.
Yeah, and before we go on, I just got to shout out Antonio Delgado out there in Puerto Rico getting hit by Fiona. Don't worry about missing the game. There are a few things more important than football. Take care of yourself out there. But talk about Oshane Ximines batting down those 2 passes. Those were pretty big plays early on because the Panthers just couldn't get any kind of offensive traction. And one thing I did notice was that early on, Baker was not comfortable. I don't know if he was keyed up or if it's just he's new to the team, new to the offense. It doesn't have great chemistry with his guys yet, but he was kind of double clutching. He was burping the baby a little bit. And Ximines was using that to time his jumps. Yeah, the first one, it wasn't because Baker is 6 foot on a good day standing on a book. Yeah, Ximines just timed a jump incredibly well, and he was fully extended to bat down that pass. Yeah, this was really just a bad offensive game all around. Yeah, neither team was particularly efficient or effective on the offensive side of the ball, except for one drive apiece.
And I also felt like Carolina's defense did really well early on. I mean, like we said, the Giants had those 2 first fumbles, right? Carolina's defense held the Giants though. And I felt like Mike Kafka and this, he did a great job overall. We'll go over some plays that we like maybe a little bit later, but he was trying to get Daniel Jones on the move. He was trying to use misdirection, get the ball to Kadarius Toney. And I felt like Frankie Louvu in particular did a really good job kind of keeping his eye on, I hate ESPN, by the way. I hate how they have those ads. It's so annoying. I'm trying to look at stats. I don't need to hear about Ford trucks. Anyways, but I feel like Frankie Louvu did a really good job of kind of spying Daniel Jones on those little misdirections, on those counters, and really keeping contained and then shooting those gaps when he really had to make big tackles on Daniel Jones. So a lot of those creative play calls on those first 2 drives just ended up stalling. The Giants had to settle for field goals. But then you go a little bit later in the game, Chris, and you get the Daniel Bellinger play. That's an excellent play where you have the Giants lined up in pistol formation. You just run Richie James on motion. You know you love motion, and we saw more motion, thankfully, right?
Yeah.
That is so refreshing, Chris. But you get Richie James on motion, you just wheel him outside, and you clear out that end of the field, and then the receiver who's already on that side of the field, Kenny Galladay, just runs an in route. So now you're completely clear to the boundary side. So what do? You go into the mesh point with Saquon Barkley, and you pull the H back from the opposite side to just leak out into the flat, and there's no one there to cover him. You have one defender who's in conflict. That defender has to make a decision.
Back.
Yeah, that defender has to make a decision on the H back or the quarterback Daniel Jones running. So it's just an excellently schemed play against Phil Snow's defense, and it went for 6. And kudos to Daniel Bellinger.
Yeah, this was kind of an interesting game because the Giants' offense is well schemed, but they don't seem to be getting that traction yet. A lot of it is, I think, their passing offense is very short range.
Chris, I think you cut out, my man. Now I'm watching you on the YouTube, and we have 51 people watching, and your face is completely frozen. So sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody, on our end. But I'm ecstatic right now. I'm 100% ecstatic about the New York Giants being able to win this football game over, let's be honest, an opponent they should have defeated, the Carolina Panthers. I don't think it was a completely winnable football